Hasta Via. Welcome to the Monday Night Let's Talk, your optimal health community. I am Amber Smithson, and I've got my husband, Jared, here.
Hello.
Hello.
Happy Monday.
Happy Monday. We love the Mondays. And, we were joking earlier. We're like, is this just going to be a half an hour of us on a soapbox? Because this topic is just like, this gets me riled up.
Yeah, it really does. And I mean the title is The Missing Pieces, right? What's missing in most diets. We don't want to just sit and point at everything else out there, because we could turn our finger around, point at ourselves, right? Because one of the most prevalent health practices in our country is to jump from plan to plan, looking for the perfect thing, right? Or now medications that help with that process. People just jump, and they constantly are blaming the plan. But we have arguably the best nutrition in the world. We can say that we reverse metabolic dysfunction.
Legally.
Right? We can say that. So we have incredible nutrition. We have incredible education. We have incredible pieces to our puzzle, right? But if all we're doing is focusing on one little thing and it's just a temporary fix, if we're only looking at it as a temporary fix, it's really no different than anything else. Well, it's a little different.
Yeah. But if you're only looking at it as your diet, like the food that you put in your mouth, like right there, like that's like part of my soapbox too tonight, is that if you only think what we're doing here is our awesome nutrition that you're putting in your mouth, you are missing the boat. And I think, Jared was saying we could point at ourselves. And I think we can point at ourselves when we're not taking part in all of the pieces of the puzzle that we are offering, that we have at our disposal, typically like for no added cost also.
Yeah, I mean, most people, they're out there spending hundreds and sometimes thousands of dollars on programs that offer little to no support. They're not really learning anything. They're just following a protocol, right? They're following a routine, but they're not getting community support. They're not getting the support of a coach, of a friend that is, and a coach is someone who's going to challenge you. Like, are you open to coaching? Do you give your coach permission to ask you tough questions? I was on a client call this afternoon and with another coach on our team, and they wanted a little bit of extra support. And this client is really, really, really wanting to get pregnant. And most people would just start with, okay, what are you dealing with? And they would want to, okay, let's lose some weight. But I asked her, I'm like, do you have a biometric scale? So I asked her to shoot me over her numbers real quick. And her scale has a scale of 1 to 20 visceral fat, and she's at a 20. And I said, I asked permission, do I have permission to offer nearly 2 decades of experience? And I've had hundreds probably of clients, female clients, who have been in this process of infertility or trying to get pregnant or something like this. And she's planning on going into her 3rd round of IVF in about 2 months. And I said, can I challenge you a little bit? And I said, can we take a little bit more time? A few more months to get in this process of getting healthier metabolically, to give you the best chance for a pregnancy and a really healthy pregnancy.
Yeah, our bodies function. It functions better when we are metabolically healthy in all ways. Now, do we guarantee people getting pregnant? I mean,
No,
results not
absolutely not.
typical, but for a lot of us, we were hoping, but
Yeah, totally.
not typical.
So, I mean, what are most plans out there? Well, I'll tell you what, we've been in this space coaching for over 17 years. And the longer and longer we are in this process of coaching, the more and more I see what I call there's foundations, right? Foundations are sleep, their nutrition, their exercise,
Hydration.
hydration, emotional management, right? Dr. A always talks like emotional mismanagement is the leading cause of death. Like you can look at all of the other things there, right? The heart disease, the diabetes, the accidents, all of the things. And a lot of it has to do with emotional mismanagement. We're not dealing with the root problems. We're just treating symptoms. And oftentimes people in a lot of the diets or health plans or health products or anything out there are pitching not foundations. They're pitching and they're marketing to the margins and the levers. They're looking for the easy button. And I believe in a lot of health practices to amplify the foundation. But all of those little things, the little extras that most people are focusing and primarily focusing on, they're not going to work without those foundational pieces of sleep and moving our bodies. And I'll be blunt here. We warned you at the beginning, this is going to be a soapbox. We live in such a sedentary world now that a 20-minute walk ain't going to cut it, people. You have to move your body. And if you're not at the point where you can move your body vigorously yet, it's just a process of getting to where you eventually can. We've got to move more, and our nutrition and our sleep is going to be the foundation for getting our body to a position to where we can really healthily move that body with more energy.
Well, and I always kind of have to laugh, like when somebody maybe we're talking to someone and we're telling them about this amazing lifestyle plan that we have, and they're like, "Oh, you know what? Maybe I'm just gonna try keto." And I'm like, when was the last time that keto talked to you about taking personal responsibility? How much did keto talk about above and below the line? What does keto call you every week and be like, let's look at your metabolic scan and see what's happening. Let's make sure that your muscles protected. And how much sleep did you get? Did keto ask you how much sleep you got last night?
Never.
Keto never talked to me about any of that. Does keto have a Monday night optimal health community time? Does keto have a convention where you can go and learn and be in the community with other people?
Coaches and clients, anybody is welcome.
Amy says, keto does not.
Keto does not. You are correct.
It's like, you guys, this is not about just like a nutrition plan. Although arguably the best nutrition plan that I've seen that works. But it's just like they're missing the entire point. But I think we should bring Megan on.
Yeah.
So
Megan is a coach on our team, and she is incredible. She has a doctorate in nursing, and she runs a clinic in Flagstaff, Arizona. And she's really here to correct all of our mistakes. So no, she's such a good friend, such an incredible coach.
yeah, so Megan, I'm wondering if you can talk to a little bit about this because you have, you've probably seen it all over the many years that you have been a health professional. And what have you experienced personally with how different diets work or don't work, and how what you're seeing in your clinic with Optavia?
Well, let me start by saying you're absolutely right. I do have a doctorate in nursing, and I received one nutrition class the whole way through all of that. So I am someone that thought that diets worked. And I recommended different diets and I tried them with my patients. And, it took an embarrassingly long period of time for me to really recognize a couple things. Number one, that the medications I was prescribing for all of these chronic lifestyle related illnesses were not solving the problem. And number two, that all of the things that I was recommending, even though they were always based in science, I wasn't recommending really fad diets or anything, but I recommended some really well-respected programs and referred people to dietitians and nutritionists and, even to bariatric surgery. I mean, I've tried all the things because my background's in cardiology. So, I see a lot of high blood pressure, high cholesterol, diabetes, all those things that lead to the inevitable result of heart disease. And so I was trying all of those things and nothing was working. And frankly, I am someone that spends a lot of time with my patients. I go above and beyond. But as healthcare professionals, one of the first things that I noticed when I started this program is I was spending a lot of time in the drama triangle and trying to be the hero, telling people what to do, trying to save the day. That doesn't work. And we as human beings, we do need connection. We do need follow up and that coach support. We do really benefit from somebody asking us some of those tough questions. But do we want it? No, there's not too many of us that are like, oh, pick apart what I just said, hold up a mirror to, what I'm missing here. That takes an extra step in personal growth. And so, I was just blown away when I finally did find this program at how comprehensive it was. And everything started clicking of why nothing was working before, because they were incomplete programs. We do want to tackle the mindset. We do want to have someone in our corner that we can ask questions to, and they can ask questions of us. We definitely do need a program to be nutritionally sound because we're trying to create health here. And, to have a community, that's something that I did not know that I was lacking. And I did not think that I needed this community. And now I love this community more than anything. I start most of my clinic days with this community, hearing people thriving and doing well in their health. And that's meaningful for me as a provider. So I love this program and how thorough it is.
I love that, Megan. It's so true. And Jared started this with saying, we're not here to say other, diet plans are bad. It's just, it's not a complete picture. I love how you were saying that. I'm curious, what kind of results that you've seen, like maybe compare like a patient of yours, I mean, don't share their name, obviously. Okay, but a patient of yours maybe just doing their own thing versus a patient of yours who's really like actually plugging into the Optavia plan. I'm curious kind of what you've seen that way.
Night and day difference. This plan, here's one of the other things that I noticed right away with Optavia, and it blew me away. It works for everyone. I mean, every single person that follows the nutrition plan is going to have predictable results. And that's people from, 18-year-olds. I have worked with a few teens on our teen plan, all the way up to middle age. And I've got several patients and clients into their 80s. We have predictable results. It's good nutrition pretty much across the board. Some people may need a few little extras, and the coaches and we have nutrition support and all these great tools to help with that. But hands down works better than any kind of self-guided plan, with really predictable results. And so because I am so science-based and because I work in cardiology and really started my coaching practice 6 years ago working with patients, I had this great opportunity to also follow labs, which is really meaningful in healthcare. And so I could immediately see within 3 months, um, and we can legally say all of this now, which I couldn't for the first however many years, but we saw a complete reversal in hemoglobin A1C, which is the number that tells kind of gauges prediabetes or diabetes with insulin resistance. So I saw incredible drastic drops in A1C like I would not see with any other medications. The improvements in cholesterol panels also blew me away. I mean, we can take triglycerides that are really high and just honestly, even just within weeks on our plan, by cutting the sugars and those refined carbohydrates, the triglycerides go back to normal. We're moving our body, which really helps us to improve that healthy HDL cholesterol. And then all of the lean proteins that we recommend, really help with that LDL cholesterol. But without naming any specific medication names, I saw way more robust results with this nutrition plan than with any of the other medications that we prescribe for those same conditions with the same amount of follow-up, because we check labs 3 months after we either start a medication or start an intervention. And so I was just completely blown away by the results that I was seeing there. And before we go on to your next question, I also want to say, because it fits perfectly into this, can people use it as a diet? Yeah. I wish that they wouldn't, but if all you're going to do is eat the food, follow the nutrition plan, you will see predictably a very nice improvement in your blood work. When you go back to old habits, though, those will reap the same kind of blood work as they did before. So it really is the consistency with following a plan and balancing your blood sugar with eating every few hours and staying hydrated and getting sleep. All of those things are what really play into long-lasting results. Yes, we can see short-term results better than I saw with any other diet that I had recommend. Because remember, I did recommend a lot, never saw results like this. Do they continue when the lifestyle continues? Yeah. But will it reverse if we go back to our old habits? Yeah, it will. It will. It takes the consistency. And that's where the community and the coach really come in, because it just becomes what you do.
Yeah, I'm glad that you said that. It's what you do, right?
Yeah.
And it's who you are. If you want, that's the difference between diet and lifestyle. Lifestyle is who you are, right?
Yep.
And diet is just what you're doing for a short period of time. I mean, we can diet on what we consume online, right? It's
Yep.
our online diet. We have our food diet. We have our friends diet, right? Like who we surround ourselves with. Amber said, we're not going to say that something else is bad, but I will say this, we're better. We're better than anything out there, right? A very prestigious clinic, they gave their findings on several different plans that they interventions that they use in their clinic, and some of your basic ones, their minimum, they don't want people to lose more than 20% of their weight loss be muscle loss, right? That's their
Lot.
target.
Yeah.
A fifth of their weight loss being muscle loss. One of the most popular ones out there is, and GLP-1s, we know this, that the last about 3 years, the research shows that about 40 to 50% of the weight loss is lean mass. And there's only one popular diet that people follow, and it includes not eating for long periods of time. And they said that half to 2/3 of people's weight loss was lean mass, when they were following this for long periods of time.
Are you talking about intermittent?
Intermittent
fast?
fasting.
I don't know why I didn't want to say it.
Because a lot of people love it. But it doesn't show, a lot of those things don't show the efficacy that our plans do.
Mm-hmm.
We have
Yeah.
98% retention of lean mass. We are focusing on losing fat.
Yes. And that's so important for our metabolic health. I mean, we want as much muscle as we can get, you know? That muscle is just a driver for healthy longevity. It naturally will help balance your blood sugar because I like to think of it, it's like a sponge. It just soaks up that blood sugar and puts it to good use. So that healthy muscle is so important. And I mentioned I'm in cardiology, but I also have a healthy weight management clinic. And so I've got patients that do a lot of different things. They know what I recommend, but I will support them and kind of guide and manage them on whatever they want to do. I do have one patient I just have in mind that he's on a very intense intermittent fasting regimen, and he knows that it's not what I recommend, but I'm helping him to monitor it. He's monitoring his blood glucose and his blood ketones, and he's eating like nothing but a bunch of tinned fish, he calls it, you know, but like all of the canned fish. And so he's going big on protein and he's having pretty good results, but he knows it's not something he can do forever. And I'm very clear with him, like, I'm guiding you through this part to make sure that this is happening safely. But where you're going to need my support more than ever is after this phase, because it's the lifelong skills and habits and what's going to be sustainable for you for your next 40, 50 years. That's what I'm most focused on helping you to create.
I am so glad you said that because this is something that I talk to clients about all the time.
Mhm.
Is our nutrition plan is so straightforward and really, really simple that your communication and support from your coach is less important during the fat loss phase because it's so straightforward,
Mm-hmm.
and more important as you're moving forward into a long-term lifestyle.
Well, and I would add not just like the support of your coach, but it's even more important to plug into the community, like these sorts of calls or, whatever calls that your group has put together, or to go to events or to read the life book or listen to the audiobook. You know what? That's like when the rubber meets the road, because sometimes people get like this idea, they're like, oh, I'm invincible, they're in fat burn, they had all this energy, the weight's coming off, they're like, and then
Mhm.
it's like, oh, what do I do now? And they haven't been thinking about it the whole time they've been targeting that visceral fat, right?
Yes, yeah. And I think, what we have too of this interconnected system and all of these different aspects, it really plays into how our body works too, right? Because we know everything's connected. And that's why this metabolic dysfunction is wreaking havoc on so many different systems because they're all connected and all these systems need to be able to communicate with one another. We have an incredibly advanced nervous system and incredibly advanced, way that our organs all communicate. But when we've strangled them all with this layer of visceral fat, and it's like an insulation from them being able to communicate with the other organ systems. So everything's just off, where things should be working together and everything working in harmony. Now suddenly it seems like all the things are broken. Nothing's working right. I'm fatigued. My energy is crashing. I saw lots of conversation about PCOS, which is now called PMOS, which I'd be happy to touch on in a minute if you want. But all of these organ systems, we want them all to function in harmony. But what happens? You go to the clinic and hopefully you've got a great primary provider, but they might send you to me for your heart. They might send you to endocrinology for your thyroid. They might send you to GI for your gut. Well, all of these things are being treated separately now, but they're all connected. And so when you can really bring the whole program together and have a system of great support, It works well in our body. It works well for our body and for our mindset as well.
I love that. And, I think when it boils down, we've been talking about just like integration with like all the systems in your body, integration into like support and community and education. And I think also we need to start realizing we need integration in our brain too. Like we need
Yeah.
to start deciding that who I used to be, who put me in that position where the visceral fat was choking out my organs and they couldn't talk to each other, I need to be a brand new person. Like I need to start changing up here. And I love that the life book, the first 5 elements are dealing with that. Dr. A
Love the
didn't
life
start to
book.
tell you about your blood sugar and to tell you about muscle protein synthesis, even though those are super important things to learn. He started up here.
Yeah, and one of the things that he talks about in the Habits of Health is that really caught my attention when I read it back in 2009, at the beginning of 2009, and it's what sold me on Optavia, was this idea of creating fundamental choices. And for my entire life, I had been going directly to secondary choices. Oh, I've got this problem. What's the fix?
Which diet should I choose?
Right? So fundamental choice is, who do I want to be? What do I want in my life? So my fundamental choice is, I want health. I want not just optimal health. I want ultra health. Why? Because from a very, very personal place, I love to have fun in life. And fun to me is filled with activities that I love to do, and specifically with my family.
I like to have fun too. We should hang out.
Yeah. So I love being super active. So I feel way better when I'm active, when I'm really, really healthy. So I made this fundamental decision that, okay, this is who I'm going to be. And then from there, it's like, okay, primary choices are what is involved in creating ultra health. Okay, there's sleep, there's exercise, there's nutrition, there's emotional management, there's my friendships and my surroundings and stuff. And then secondary choices are what kind of nutrition, what kind of exercise, who do I want to hang out with?
5-in-1 active.
Yeah.
Which gym am I joining?
Right? And then there's even choices beyond that, the tertiary choices. What protein am I going to eat? Right?
Chicken or
What,
fish?
right? What carbohydrates am I going to eat? So it's really this identity game, right? And
Yeah.
I mean, here's just kind of a list of old identity versus new identity. Old identity would be something like, I'm going on a diet to fix my body or fix something in my body. I skip workouts when I don't feel like it. I eat on autopilot for comfort. I'm inconsistent and start over every Monday.
I love Monday.
Yeah. I focus on the scale and quick results. Versus a new identity script would be like, I nourish and fuel my body daily. Movement is non-negotiable. I eat to support energy and health. I build habits that last. I focus on how I feel and who I'm becoming. Right? It's not about perfection. It's about making progress and keeping those commitments that we make to our identity.
Yeah. Well, thanks for joining us,
Absolutely.
Megan. Any last words?
Thank you for having me.
You're amazing.
Love
So
it.
are
Well,
you
we're going to
guys.
have
Thank
you
you.
back for more.
Hopefully she'll have
Actually,
us.
2 weeks. I'll be here for the healthcare provider panel. So bring all your questions about metabolic health. We're so excited to share that with you in 2 weeks.
So
Awesome.
good, so good. Well, join us next week as well. Next Monday, Muscle Matters Why Way. I'm excited for this one.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Great.
and then 2 weeks later, join Megan once again. We love hearing
And
from her.
I hear that next week we will have an Olympian joining us.
Ooh,
Nice.
exciting.
Would that be Craig Blanchett?
It might be. We don't know.
We shall see. We shall see. Join us to find out. Thanks for joining us tonight, everybody. Have a fabulous week and let's get integrated.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.